What is going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction and welcome back to another COD mobile video. So today I decided to do something a little bit more different. I decided to do my first top 5 video for Call of Duty Mobile. So in today's top 5 video, we are going to be talking about the top 5 weapons in hardcore game modes. Since seeing that pretty much every season there's always professional YouTubers talking about the top 5 weapons of Call of Duty Mobile within every season, because of course every month they always have different patch notes and certain guns get nerfed, certain guns get buffed. But since hardcore barely made its way into its game, I think it's time that someone made a top 5 list for the hardcore game mode. So since hardcore is a little bit different from core in the sense that you kill people a lot faster, the meta of the guns are a little bit different in this situation. So for example, a weapon that may be reliable in core might not actually be reliable in hardcore due to the way it works. So that's the way hardcore functions. Like all the guns that you wouldn't expect to be reliable are pretty much very overpowered within this game mode. So this list may surprise you in some ways. But anyway, let's actually get into it. So for number 5, we have the QQ9. So the main reason why I picked this as number 5, despite the fact that it kills in 2 shots instead of 1, is because of how fast this weapon fires and how stable it is. In hardcore, you're going to be going up against a lot of people up front, and sometimes you may not expect them coming, so that's why the ADS speed for this gun is very reliable, because actually it's the fastest in its class, I believe. So of course you're not always going to be facing people with the QQ9. So that's why this weapon is so superior. So let me explain why. If you're going up against someone with the Man of War, which is definitely a slower weapon, you are going to be able to pick up your weapon much faster and get the kill. And since the hit detection with this gun is pretty much on point all the time, you pretty much only need 2 shots to fire in order to kill the person. You're pretty much never gonna miss, depending on how accurate you are, of course. And to top it all off, since it's hardcore, you are going to be able to pick off enemies from a longer range, like from medium to long range. It'll still be a 2-shot kill. It's until you reach a sniper's range that you are going to have to kill someone in 3 shots. So yeah, number 5 is the QQ9, and it deserves that spot. So number 4 is going to be a little bit different because, well, obviously there are 2 weapons that are extremely similar, and they both deserve the number 4 spot. And of course, these weapons are the M4 and the ICR. So yeah, the reason why I want to give the number 4 spot to both of these guns is because the way I see it, I see these guns as twins. Reason being is honestly because they both have pretty identical range, they have more or less the same recoil patterns, and yeah, they're both insanely accurate. So yeah, that's why I pretty much label them as twins. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I've tested hardcore with both of these guns, and honestly I can't really tell the difference between the two. I feel like I'm using the same weapon. So the reason why I picked these two, other than just them being twins, is the fact that they could pretty much annihilate people across the map. And that is solely because of their stability and accuracy. So yeah, you could actually pick off a lot of enemies at long range with relative ease. And of course, if you want to use this for close quarters combat, their fire rate is pretty decent, so you could use a lot of speed attachments in order to, speed up your gun and pick up your weapon a lot faster. So yeah, the M4 and the ICR are definitely deserving of the number 4 spot. So now let's move on to number 3. So the number 3 spot may have come to a surprise for a lot of you guys because, you hardly ever see this weapon used in core, but in hardcore, this weapon is quite a monster. So the number 3 spot goes to the Razorback. So let me ask you guys, how often do you really see a Razorback in core game modes? Not a lot, right? So usually in core, it's in everyone's best interest to get the fastest firing weapon in order to succeed. But when it comes to the Razorback, since it's kind of like a hybrid between an SMG and an AR, it's going to be a little bit less reliable on core. But when it comes to hardcore, oh man, this thing can tear people apart. So from what I've known so far, the Razorback is pretty much the only SMG that can provide a reliable one-shot kill range. And that is if you actually put the long barrel and the monolithic suppressor on this weapon. Only then you could be able to one-shot enemies from a long range. But the kicker here with this weapon is that it kind of works like a sniper. You know, with some snipers you have to actually hit in the upper torso in order to get a one-shot kill. The weapon is more or less the same. So if you shoot an enemy in the legs, you'll most likely get a 2-shot kill, but if you shoot someone in the chest and up, you are going to be able to land 1-shot kills from a medium range. And since there are not really a lot of weapons that can actually kill in one shot, you pretty much have the edge over a lot of enemies because, like, more often than not, they're going to be using a weapon that actually takes 2 shots to kill. So yeah, this weapon could pretty much save your life in a variety of ways. And also, let's not forget to mention the stability that this weapon has. It hardly has any recoil. You're going to be able to pick off a lot of enemies at a medium to long range, either it be in 1 shot or 2 shots depending on how far they are. So yeah, that's why the Razorback deserves number 3 in this list. So now let's talk about the last 2 guns. And these 2 guns actually league above the rest I have previously mentioned. So the weapon that actually deserves the number 2 spot is, of course, the AK-47. So I'm sure a lot of you guys saw this coming. The AK-47, of course, in core is pretty lethal in its own, but in hardcore, this is where this weapon shines. The range of this weapon is insane. And just so you guys know, in this footage that you're seeing right here, I'm not even using the long barrel. I'm just using a simple monolithic suppressor, and I'm still mapping people in 1 shot. So I know a lot of people give this gun a lot of crap because, you know, basically it has like a lot of recoil, but if you know how to set the attachments right, this weapon could pretty much be the most deadliest weapon in hardcore depending on the skill of the person holding it. So in short to medium ranges, you are going to be able to achieve 1-shot kills with relative ease. But if you want to go for the long shots, you are going to have to put the marksman barrel on the AK-47. I don't actually recommend using the marksman barrel because most of the times whenever you get into an engagement with someone, it's mainly medium range. Of course, there are a couple maps that have like long ranges such as Crossfire and Takeoff and even Meltdown, but most of the time you're going to be facing people in medium ranges, so it's not really worth running the marksman barrel. In this footage here, I was actually using the monolithic suppressor and the short barrel. So luckily the short barrel doesn't really decrease the range, it just increases your ADS speed. So I used the monolithic suppressor here to increase the range a little bit. But even with that alone, it's still enough to one-shot enemies from a pretty long distance, I have to say. But anyways, that is the reason why the AK-47 deserves the number 2 spot. So now, let's actually move on to the final one. So the weapon I'm about to list here is a weapon that honestly is never used in core. I never see it used ever. I'm probably one of the people that actually gives it a try sometimes. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty useless in core, but in hardcore, it is such an amazing weapon. And the weapon is the M16. So what you're seeing here is me using the M16 in hardcore at its fullest potential. This thing is so powerful, you are pretty much unstoppable. So in my personal opinion, the M16 is hardcore's ultimate weapon of destruction. So the fact that this weapon could kill at very long ranges isn't enough to simply just give it the number 1 spot. You have to realize this is a burst weapon. So if you manage to get a hit marker on the first shot of the burst, the second shot or the third shot will pretty much finish them off. So no matter what, your enemy is screwed. That's all I could pretty much say. And even if by some miracle the first shot doesn't kill them, the second or third shot will definitely finish the job. Of course, you could always extend its already generous range with the marksman barrel, but honestly, without it, it's alright. I honestly don't even need it. If you use the monolithic suppressor, you're more or less golden. This weapon is that overpowered in hardcore. So yeah, this is honestly the reason why the M16 deserves the number 1 spot for the top 5 best weapons in hardcore. So anyways, that's going to conclude our top 5 video for today. So hope you guys really enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for more COD mobile content. This has been Triforce Addiction. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.